Ready? All right, so this is Joshua George's 11th grade U.S. history class. At this point in the time, the students have already sat down. They've got their notebooks out, their laptops out, whatever it is that they're taking notes on. And we're going to start off by doing an introduction into what we're covering today, and then followed by a bell ringer. Okay, so today we're doing the United States Constitution, the who, what, when, and where. So for the bell ringer today, class, we're going to be covering the Bill of Rights. So the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments in the United States Constitution, and what we're going to be doing for the bell ringer is, in your opinion, which of the amendments in the Bill of Rights is the most important? Okay, so get in your groups, whatever it is that we're doing, and let's be quiet and respectful to your peers. Go ahead and get started. Ooh, now we walk around. Walk around. How's the bell ringer going?
It's going good.
Going good? How's your bell ringer doing? You doing good?
It's good.
Okay, good. All right, everybody finished? Raise your hand if you're not done. Perfect. Okay. Would anybody like to share their opinion on what their favorite or what they think is the best amendment in the Bill of Rights? Jamal, please.
The First Amendment, because the freedom of speech is very important, and we've got a lot of things done, like certain people, what's the word I'm looking for? Like activists, because they have freedom of speech. So
Right. That also covers the freedom of press, which gives newspapers and media outlets the opportunity to post whatever they would like without defaming someone, and doesn't allow the government to suppress anything that they would like to write or post. Anyone else? Yes, Kyle.
I'd say the Second Amendment.
Why?
I feel that as a citizen, having the right to bear arms in certain situations is crucial. You say someone's breaking into your house and you have to have a means to protect your family. And so having the right to bear arms protects you under law in that sort of situation, to where you're not, facing first-degree murder. You're self-defending. You're defending your family.
Okay, so fun fact, the Second Amendment was actually written in the perspective of government that was wanting to make sure that if their government or someone else's government was being tyrannical over the people, that the people would be allowed to bear arms against their own government, which is why it's called the right to bear arms. Anyways, all right, so now we're going to move on into the actual lecture part of today. So notice in the title it said who, what, when, and where. So who? The key contributors of the Constitution are known as our founding fathers. Okay, they're separated into two groups: the Anti-Federalists and the Federalists. Now, the leader of the Federalists was Alexander Hamilton, and while the leader of the Anti-Federalists was Thomas Jefferson. So, what? The Constitution, the basic principles and laws of the country. Okay, so like we just said in the Bill of Rights, it's the first 10 amendments. The amendments are laws that are afforded to us by our government that are stated very openly and very clearly. So when the United States Constitution was drafted on September 17th of 1787, and it was officially ratified on June 21st, 1788, after New Hampshire was the 9th colony to vote for the ratification of it. And then where? The Constitution was written in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the First Continental and Second Continental meetings. Any questions? No. Sweet. All right. So if y'all remember, 2 days ago, I asked y'all to go home and create a storyboard for the timeline of the U.S. Constitution. So this is mine. I want y'all to go ahead and turn y'all's in at the end of class, but I want y'all to do is add anything that is missing from y'all's, because this is what we're going to be covering. And I also, at the end, I want to see what y'all have on y'all's timeline so that I can compare the two, see what we understand and what we don't understand as being significant into the role of the Constitution. Everybody understand? Cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first, we're going to start with 1760s, the King George III and the English Parliament. So first thing that they did was they started taxing us relentlessly. And the first, you've heard the phrase probably, no taxation without representation. This is where this comes from, the stamp tax, the tea tax, and all that. They were taxing us so that they can get money for themselves to protect themselves from the Spanish Armada. Cool? 1774 was the first Continental Congress. At this point, 12 of the 13 British colonies came together in Philadelphia to begin discussing what they were going to do about these acts, these taxes, and the only state that wasn't there was the state of Georgia, had no representation. Yes. Okay. April 1775. This was known as a shot heard round the world. Okay, so at this point, the United States militia, well, if you could even call it that, met on the battlefield with the British company, and someone, no one knows directly who, someone thought they heard a shot on the battlefield. They actually fired first, and that's what kicked off the Revolutionary War. So in May of 1775, the Second Continental Congress meets again in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, all 13 states were there, and this is where the talks really began about creating a constitution, actually forming a country. At first, it was all just kind of a theory, and now we're actually talking about putting it into action. And then July 4th, 1776 is obviously a date that we all celebrate now, known as July 4th, Independence Day. The Declaration of Independence was a document that was signed by the leaders of this great nation, our founding fathers, to declare our independence from England and their monarchy. And then we see in March of 1781, we get the Articles of Confederation. It is another legal document that is given to us by our founding fathers to follow. It's basically just rules talking about what we can and can't do as states of a union. And then in May of 1787, that is when the United States Constitution was actually beginning to be drafted. So before all that is meeting, we're talking about declaring ourselves independent from Britain, all that kind of stuff. Again, we'll cover this deeper as we move on. This is just the beginning of the lesson plan to give y'all some oversight of what we're going to be doing. And then we're actually not going to speak about the Virginia plan or the New Jersey plan or the 3/5 compromise, but we will be speaking about June 21st, 1788. That is when the not the Declaration of Independence. The Constitution was written, or not written, but published, right? So we have in 1775, where it was starting about the Declaration of Independence, and 1787 is when it first began drafted. Okay? Then June 21st, 1788 is when it was officially published. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
No?
No.
Questions from you, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Why did they wait so long to, why did it take so long for it to be, like you said, it was written in July 4th, 1775, and then you said it went back to be ratified in May of 1787, right?
No, okay, so July 4th is the Declaration of Independence. This is our document declaring to the British government that we are our own sovereign country, our own sovereign states.
Yeah.
Right? So that has nothing to do with the Constitution. This is what we sent to Great Britain to let the King and all of Great Britain know we're no longer your colonies. We are our own place. And then you see the war kicks off here. They're still in the midst of fighting. At the end of the war, everybody wanted George Washington to be the president, the sole president, forever and ever, amen, right? And he wasn't about that. So he started writing the U.S. Constitution, which a constitution is basically just something that every country needs. It's basically just the laws, the rule book, right? And then we see in 1788 where it actually gets published as its own work. Great question. Thank you for your question. Any other questions? You good? Mm-hmm. We good? Sweet.